Finance Committee meeting, we had a recess into executive session, so we're reconvening the finance, and we're taking no action with anything discussed in executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn finance?
Yes, Mr. Coyne, for the record, we came out of executive session at 6:56 PM, and I will make a motion to adjourn Finance Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. We're going to go into a public hearing to start off the evening, and it is a public hearing for a zoning map amendment to change the zoning of the property located at south of Lafayette Road and west of Industrial Parkway with parcel number 02819C 17041 from an I-1 industrial to an R3 high-density urban residential to develop the site for an extension of the existing mobile home park to the north. And I guess I'll start off with Mr. Dutton explaining it, and then I'll ask anybody for the zoning map amendment and then anybody against the zoning map amendment. So, Mr. Dutton?
Thank you. Yes, this is a property to the south of the existing Brookdale Mobile Home Park, south of Lafayette Road and west of Industrial Parkway. So the request here is only the rezoning from I-1 to the R3. Clearly, our I-1 is an industrial district with uses such as manufacturing, warehousing, things of that nature. R3 is a residential district which allows single-family homes, other uses, and it conditionally allows a mobile home park, which would need to be approved by the Planning Commission if this goes forward. So the property was, or the proposal did go to the Planning Commission at their November meeting, and approval was recommended by the Commission. The applicant has provided a site plan for the property, which shows a number of mobile home units, and has since revised that to show screening, which was a topic we talked about at the finance meeting. However, as I noted, any kind of specific development will need to be reviewed by the Planning Commission. Thank you. Thank
you. At this time, then, I'll ask if anybody wishes to speak in favor of the proposed zoning map amendment. You guys want to talk? If you want, yeah, go to the back microphone, Mr.
Hi, Jim Hauk, speaking in favor of the zoning amendment. And I did want to let you, council, know that we are addressing the concern of noise. Went to our engineer, he came up with fencing, which we've provided to the city, is the best sound barrier because you can go different thicknesses. He didn't seem to think that natural fencing would do a whole lot. I also spoke with residents that live in close proximity to the factories currently, and not a single one has had an issue with noise that was reported to me. Spoke with our manager, the same thing, no noise issues currently. Not to say that in the future something can't come in, but I do believe fencing would be the most appropriate way to reduce noise coming from factories.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak in favor of the zoning map amendment?
Does that include us?
Yes, it includes us too. Yeah, we can talk about it.
Okay.
Nope, hearing none. Is there anybody that wishes?
Actually, I was going to speak in favor.
Oh, you are?
That was my
Okay.
question.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Thank you.
Mr. Logan.
I just want to say I appreciate that, we had that discussion, when we talked before, the concern about noise, and I appreciate that the work that you did to, investigate that, talk to neighbors, and I took a look at the screening, and as you and I have talked, I agree with you that the fencing is, what you heard about the fencing is probably going to be much more of a screen if in fact noise ever becomes an issue than planting trees and shrubs or the natural boundary. But I appreciate the work you did, and it seems reasonable, and like it's it'll be a good thing for the people that are there. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else that wishes to speak in favor? Anybody that wishes to speak in opposition of the zoning map amendment? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. So at this time, I'd like to call the January 9th, 2023 council meeting to order. So if you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hazeltine. Lamb.
Here?
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Yes, here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coin.
Here.
Hare.
Yes.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes as prepared and submitted by the clerk for the December 12th, 2022 regular meeting and the January 4th, 2023 organizational meeting be approved.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine. Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. We had our first Finance Committee of the year prior to this meeting, and it was a very eventful one. We liked it. We'll have many more, of course, this year. We have several items that are going to be on the agenda from last year on this council agenda, and today's finance meeting will be on next council agenda. Health, Safety, and Sanitation, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, no report this evening.
Special Legislation, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, there we go. I have no report, but I do have a pretty full, my committee is pretty full. And so I just want to point out that I need to talk to a couple council people. I need to talk to the members of my committee and a couple members of the administration to go over some of the things that are in my committee prior to a meeting. And considering the number of things that are in my committee, I'm going to try to schedule those in a prioritized way, starting sometime in, as we get into the very end of January and move into the months of the year to kind of clear up some of those things. Some things have been in there too long. Others are new and probably will require more discussion than others. So I will try to work through something that's amenable schedule-wise to the members of the committee, council, as well as I need to talk to some of the administrators as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks, Ms. Hare.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report, but I do have a meeting scheduled for Monday, January 23rd at 5:30 here in the City Hall Rotunda. And the subject for discussion is installing flashing crosswalk lights at Ashwood Lane and Reagan Parkway for pedestrians to cross safely. Thank you.
Thank you. Water and Utilities, Ms. Hazeltine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing new to report and no meeting scheduled at this time.
Thank you. Emerging Technologies, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no meeting scheduled, but the Emerging Technology Advisory Committee is inserting a survey regarding electric vehicles in the water bills, so over the next several weeks. So keep an eye out for that, and please participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have some requests for council action. We have several for the Finance Committee. We have 23-1 Economic Development TRX transfer, 23-2 Withdrawal Job Grant Creation Grant Agreement Expert Crane, 23-3 Expenditure to Absolute Construction CHIP Grant Repair, 23-4 Increase Expenditure for Absolute Construction CHIP Grant Repair, 23-5 Increase PO 2022-1600 C&J Noble CHIP Grant Rehab, 23-6 expenditure for Baker, Dublicar, Wiley, and Matthews Law Department. 23-7 expenditure over $15,000 Clarity Cloud Inc. Building Department. 23-8 expenditure over $15,000 Motorola Police Department. 23-9 amend Code 13301 Association memberships for the police. 23-10 budget amendments. 23-11 grant application ODOT Office of Aviation ALP update. 23-12 amend ordinance 19022 bids for City Railroad Improvements Project. 2313 amend salaries and benefits code regarding healthcare and travel policy. 2314 grant application ODOT Municipal Bridge Program. 2315 amend code regarding public lots, garages, parking regulations. And for the Streets and Sidewalks Committee, we have 2316 flashing crosswalk lights at Ashwood Lane and Reagan Parkway. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome council back after your Christmas break. Happy New Year to all. Today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and I just want to thank our local law enforcement, county law enforcement, state law enforcement, and of course nationally. We're blessed here in Medina County that all of our police departments support and work together, and that's something that we work hard on day in and day out, and helps all of the communities being served be better served with staffing assistance. On Wednesday, this is along police lines. On Wednesday, January 4th at about 7:45, I was on my way into City Hall and overheard the police radio. One of our sergeants had stopped a vehicle that was occupied by 3 Guatemalan persons, none of whom could speak any English. He was requesting a police officer from another local police department that could speak Spanish, and I radioed him that Miles Reed from Medina TV could assist if no officers were available, as he can speak several languages, including Spanish. No officers were available. Miles responded and assisted, and it's just another example of the city using available staffing and resources to best serve our community, and I want to publicly thank Miles for helping out at that stop. The annual Martin Luther King Jr. celebration this year will be next Monday, January 16th at 7 p.m., and this year's event is at the Medina United Methodist Church at 4747 Foot Road. The featured speaker will be Bishop Kenneth Paramore of Christ Centered Church in Akron and Youngstown, and all are welcome to attend. And then last but not least, I'd like to welcome United Way of Summit and Medina counties to talk briefly about a new program we're collaborating with them on for financial coaching to our constituents. And the Director of Community Impact, Paul Kacharian, will come to the back microphone and introduce his team members and discuss the program. Paul?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having us here tonight. I am going to keep this brief, so we're going to fly through a slideshow. But I do want to introduce Melinda Samsel, who's our Associate Vice President of Financial Stability and Health, as well as Sarah McKay, who is our Financial Empowerment Coach that's based here in Medina County. And just to give you all a quick update on United Way of Summit Medina and this Financial Empowerment program that we're bringing to the county. On this next slide, real quick, you'll see the programs that we offer to all residents throughout the county. Imagination Library provides free books for any kids aged birth through 5. They get a free book every month in the mail until their 5th birthday. 211 is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year phone and online database that people can use to find information and referrals for any social services that they may need or desire. And then lastly, what I want to talk to you about is our Financial Empowerment Center programs. This program is a free service, as you'll see on the next slide. It started about 4 years ago between United Way and a partnership between United Way and the city of Akron to provide free financial coaching to anybody who needed it throughout Summit County. With the merger of the two United Ways, this program is now available in Medina County. We have a financial coach that's going to be based here in Medina to meet the needs of Medina residents. And there's really 4 ways that people can meet with the coach. One is in person at our office, which is 23 Public Square. They can meet with the coach virtually, they can meet over the phone, or they can meet on site at any of our partner locations throughout the county. So places like Medina Metropolitan Housing Authority, JFS, Office for Older Adults. We're partnering with all of them to meet clients on site so they can meet virtually at our office, phone, on site at our partner agencies to really reduce the barrier of transportation. We can meet people where they are when they need this service. There's 3 main programs that we're offering through our financial empowerment programs. One-on-one financial coaching, Bank On, which is a national standard that we try to promote banks that provide free or reduced cost checking and savings account to make having a healthy banking relationship something that people can reach and attain. And then our third is VITA. It's the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. On the next slide, you'll see that as an organization, we are looking to financially empower 2,500 residents throughout Medina County. So with partners like the cities, like the county, helping us promote this and our agencies, we feel confident that we're going to reach this number. I do want to point out, too, the need that we have, not only here in the city, but in the county. I understand that Medina County is the third or fourth most affluent county in the state, depending on the metric you're looking at. Countywide, when you look at those people who are living in poverty or who are living paycheck to paycheck, those low to moderate wage earners, it's 26% of the population in the county. It's 1 in 4 people. When you're looking at just the city of Medina, those in poverty and living paycheck to paycheck, that number goes up to 35%. So there's people who need this service. And then I'll also say to you before the next slide, while we target those that are low to moderate wage earners and the people who can really benefit from the tools to become more financially stable, there's no income restriction for this program. You can have somebody earning 6 figures, they just don't know how to manage their money, they need help, reducing that credit card debt, we'll take them on at no cost to them. Just to show you on the next slide, what we've seen happen in Akron over the last 4 years since we've been running this program. And keep in mind, these numbers are only through June of 2022, so we're about 6 months behind at this point. Over 3,200 Summit County residents are now on the path to financial empowerment. We've had over almost 8,700 one-on-one financial coaching sessions. The total increase of savings of the clients that we work with is over $2.2 million. The total debt that we helped our clients reduce is over $4.2 million. So again, I show this to say this happened in 4 years in Summit County. I am confident that we can have these same types of results here in Medina and throughout the county. So looking at, how do we do this? There's a few key approaches that we take. One, we help people create a budget. We look and help them reduce their debt. We help them increase their credit scores. We try to help them increase their savings. And then lastly, if they aren't already in a healthy banking relationship, we help them to get on that path as well. So highlighting some of the one-on-one financial coaching standards. Again, this program is free. Sorry, if you can go to the next slide. Thank you. This program is free to both the client and our partner agencies for us to work with their clients. It's tailored to the individual's goals. So if an individual says that they want to save money for a down payment for a house, great. That's what we're going to focus on. If they want to reduce debt, that's what we're going to focus on. That's what we're going to work with them on. There's no income restrictions. And then again, financial coaches are available either remote or in person. Real quick, the last thing here is our Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. This is a program of the IRS. We recruit volunteers that become IRS certified tax preparers. This program is open to any households that earn under $60,000. They can come in, get their federal and state tax returns filed at no cost. And we help them take advantage of things that they might not know that they are eligible for, like the Earned Income Tax Credit. Getting scheduled for appointments, whether for our financial coaching or for VITA, can be done by calling 211, or you can go to our website and you can register there. And then on this last slide, again, just to show you some of the achievements that we've seen having done this since 2018 in Akron and Summit County. You can see there the year-by-year numbers, but the big numbers I want to point out is over the 5 years that we've been doing this, over $13.5 million have come back to the community through the VITA program. That combines both returns, dollars of returns, as well as cost savings for the clients for not having to go to H&R Block or someplace to have people file their taxes for them. So $13.5 million returned to the community, and it costs us as an organization just over $113 a year to run the program. So it's a pretty good return on investment, I would say. So anyways, I flew through that. I do want to be respectful of time. Hopefully you all have access to the slideshow if you need it. Our contact information is here. You can reach out, call 211, book online, or you can email fec@uwsummitmedina.org. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul. For the council, I've also asked if they would provide us with some of this information on flyer form or posters so that as the public comes in and out paying their utility bills, getting permits, whatnot, we can bring it to their attention as well in case they weren't watching tonight. But we'll do our best to get the word out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do.
Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
While we're on the subject of taxes, the city of Medina does have a municipal income tax. We contract with RITA, that's the Regional Income Tax Agency, to collect that tax. You can go to their website, it's rita-ohio.com, to get the forms and anything you need. And please remember to file if you're a resident of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mayor Hanwell asked me to address a couple of issues that came up at the organizational meeting about emergency clauses and the 3 readings rule. Let me first, I talked to Councilman Lamb this afternoon briefly about this in response to a question he had. The emergency clause does not have a specific legal definition outside of common sense involving addressing an immediate need. And so the cases that look at that generally weigh whether or not there was an immediate need, and the council is given individual discretion as to whether you think there is in fact an immediate need or not. And you have to vote your own thought on that issue. If you think it's not explained well enough, you have a right to ask additional questions so that you're satisfied that in fact there is an immediate need. If you think it's not an immediate need, you would vote against the emergency clause. So main issue with respect to the emergency clause for a council person is that you have wide discretion on deciding what to do with that. The next issue on 3 reading rule came up in some of the litigation that we've been through in the last 3 years, and is specifically addressed by the courts that looked at this. If you pass an ordinance and we didn't specifically waive the 3 reading rule, it's implied that you are waiving the 3 reading rule. You voted to pass it. And the courts have accepted that. But I think the better way of addressing it is to specifically state whether you're going to waive the 3 reading rule. And for the sake of expediency, we have typically adopted a procedure where we call out the ordinances and we specifically address the 3 reading rule. Again, the council has discretion on how you want to deal with that. We could not do that, and that would be acceptable. We could require that we address the 3 reading rule on every single ordinance that we have, which will slow the process down, and maybe on some of these you don't want to waive the 3 reading rule, where on others you do. If that is something the council wants to do, we can change it. Probably needs a discussion with our council president as to how we're going to lay this out. That might be a way that the council is more comfortable with it as opposed to waiving all of them. Again, you have discretion as to how you want to deal with that. We are a charter municipality. We do not have to follow the state legislative code on the 3 reading rule. We have it in our ordinance, but again, you have the power to not follow that if you choose to do. We've been through this now review with the courts. If you vote in favor of an ordinance, by implication that waives the 3 reading rule. I think a better procedure would be to address it specifically. As I say, for expediency, we have been listing all of them and waiving them. We do not have to do that. So that's something maybe the council wants to discuss to address some of the issues presented by Councilman Lamb. Some of these ordinances, we absolutely need to have a slow process so that people have the opportunity to absorb what the city is doing and then think about it and then come to a meeting and weigh in if necessary. So I think that covers what I was going to say, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mrs. Marshall, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. So just a couple items to note this evening. Our first round of ribbon cuttings for 2023 scheduled for Friday, January 20th. First one being the Atomic Automotive Detailing. It's a new business that opened up last year, and we're just getting them on the schedule now. They opened up, I think, in December. They're located at 620 East Smith Road in Unit W9, and then the second ribbon cutting, so that's at 1 o'clock, and then the next one's at 3 o'clock for Big Dog Daddies at 320 South Court in the lower level of the Farmers Exchange next to Medina Brewing. So those are the two that we have on our January agenda. Just a quick update on our small business grant program. This was the funding that council authorized. This was the funding that council authorized out of the American Rescue Plan Act for our small business workforce assistance grants. We had sent all the grant agreement paperwork out. All of it has been received and processed through finance. The checks have been cut and hand delivered, so all of those payments have taken place. And then the next thing will be to follow up with the businesses for the reporting that will be necessary back to finance and the state for auditing. So we'll be working on a form for that. And then our City of Medina Economic Development Committee meeting is set for tomorrow, January 10th at 8 o'clock at the Medina County Career Center. The students in the hospitality group are making us breakfast. So we'll be talking about our 2023 initiatives. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Toth, LST Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. In 2022, the life support team responded to 3,587 ambulance calls for the city of Medina. For all three entities combined, we responded to 5,495, which is an increase of 334 from 2021. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Kinney, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Mr. Gladish, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Mr. Bacoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Mr. Worley, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to highlight that the Rec Center is celebrating our 20th anniversary. We had some events last week, and we intend to have many more as the year goes on. Beginning on January 16th, we will be expanding our hours and opening at 5 a.m. Monday through Friday to try and make the facility more available for those who work early in the morning. Check out our website at medinarec.org or follow us on Facebook for upcoming programs and events. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. The work on our South Prospect Street reconstruction, that's the section between Smith and Lafayette, is starting this week. In anticipation of that, we did conduct a public open house last week. Anyone else that has questions or concerns, please feel free to contact the engineering department. Secondly, our West Smith project, that reconstruction project will start here in the next several weeks. We anticipate holding another public open house probably toward the end of this month. We will be advising all the residents and businesses in the area by letter as to when that is scheduled. Thanks.
Thank you. Chief Walters, Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Mr. Dutton, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you'll recall, City Council approved my department to put out an RFP for a multi-use plan project. We've received a number of proposals from consultants, and we'll be moving forward with that review in the upcoming months. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion by council to authorize designee for public records training. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to designate the clerk of council and the deputy clerk of council to act as the mayor and council's designee to attend public records training and as required by sections 149.43 and 109.43 of the Ohio Revised Code.
I'll make a motion to designate our clerk of council and the deputy clerk of council for such training.
Second.
Any discussion on the designation? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Notices, communications, and petitions. There's none. Unfinished business. There's none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the rear microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? Okay. Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. At this time, I entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on the following ordinances and resolutions. We have ordinance 123, 223, 323, resolution 423, ordinance 523, 623, 723, 823, 923, 1023, 1123, 1223, and 1323.
Mr. President?
Mr. Shields?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rule requiring 3 readings of tonight's ordinances and resolutions.
Second?
Any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules? Will the clerk please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Ordinance 123, we're starting off the year now, everybody get ready. An ordinance authorizing expenditure to Epic Aviation to purchase a Jet A fuel at the Medina Municipal Airport.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
Mr. President?
Mr. Shields?
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is our annual purchase, authorization to purchase jet fuel. The request is for $135,000 for the year. That, of course, is subject to change. If fuel prices go up, we'll need more. If fuel prices go down, we won't use all of that. Lucky me, I get to be the first emergency clause of the year. The reason for the emergency clause on this ordinance is that the jet fuel, we need to purchase jet fuel within that time. And we could not have passed this ordinance prior to 2023 because this is a 2023 purchase order, which we could not do in 2022. The request was submitted in 2022 so that it went through committee in 2022, but the formal approval has to be in 23 in order for it to be a 23 purchase order, which we need the purchase order to be out of $23.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on emergency clause and or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 123 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 223, an ordinance authorizing an increase off the expenditure to Mason Custom Builders for the Service Department.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
Mr. President?
Mr. Shields?
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Pacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we originally received the PO for $24,000 in June of 2022. Project was rolling along for the bathroom renovations. Ran into some material issues with some pieces and parts referred to as the hub fixtures. They were difficult to locate. The job ultimately was finished around the end of November. I received the increase in pricing on November 22nd. Couldn't make the agenda for the meeting on the 28th, which was right after Thanksgiving. The soonest we were able to get on was December 12th for the increase request, right, for the PO, in the amount of $3,827. That was December 12th. This is the first meeting being tonight, January 9th, for the actual council meeting, and it would go into effect in 30 days, so we'd like to get the contractor paid. This is a 2022 job that went 5 months. The contractor ended up fronting funds for parts and his labor as well. That's the reason for the emergency clause.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and or the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Ordinance 223 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 323, an ordinance authorizing a payment to Software Solutions, Inc., SSI, for the annual support services for the city's VIP professional accounting system.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the annual software for the Finance Department and utility billing.
Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of your ordinance?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 323 passes 7-0.
Resolution 423, a resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advances during the year 2023 pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 321.34.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the resolution and emergency clause. Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is something we have to do every year. We have to request these advances. If we do not request the advances, we will only receive property tax from the county at the final settlement. We have to make the request in the year that we're requesting it for, so this is the earliest meeting we could have voted on this request, and there will be an advance before the 30 days are over, which we would like to get.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on the emergency clause and/or resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Resolution 423 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 523, an ordinance authorizing a job creation grant agreement for Agrati, Inc.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mrs. Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is for council to authorize the mayor to enter into a job creation grant agreement with Agrati, Inc. for the purpose of expanding their business in the city of Medina. This project will allow them to construct a state-of-the-art tech center facility located at the 941 to 955 Lake Road address. Additionally, they will renovate their facility to add space for a training center. They will have an estimated investment of $12,875,000 in this project and have committed to creating 40 new full-time positions with new payroll to the city of $3,100,000. The agreement will provide Agrati with a grant up to 40% of new payroll taxes to the city of Medina for 6 years. The city is in competition for this project with their Park Forest, Illinois facility. The Business Development Committee met with the company on December 2nd to review and discuss the project, and they did approve the project at that meeting to go forward to council. Subsequently to that, the mayor and I went out there last week and met with the company again, as they now have a new chief operating officer housed out of their Detroit facility. He came down from Michigan to meet with us so that we could review the city's support along with the support from Jobs Ohio and the different incentives there at the state level. The law director has reviewed the agreement and has approved that. We did not get any feedback from the company, from their legal team. And we are still trying to get a timing as to when they will make a decision. I did ask that question, but that was not determined yet. So I think when we passed this through finance, we said subject to the company actually selecting the city of Medina for the project.
Correct.
So if we could do that again, I think if that's what you're wanting to do, that would be good. And then I just also, as a reminder to council and the public, that the job creation grants are funded from non-income tax generated revenues.
Thank you. So I guess the ordinance will be contingent upon the selection of the city of Medina for the expansion of the project at Agrati, Inc. And, you know, the vote on this would be subject to that. Is that my understanding from the motion? We'll do that with that?
That is my motion.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, and I'll second that.
Mr. President,
Yes,
I'm
Mr.
sorry, one more thing. Just so council is aware what the 6-year term estimated calculation If they meet their projections, at the low end, we're looking at over a 6-year term, a little over $90,000. And if they exceed their projections, we cap that at 125%. It would be $112,503.78 would be the max. So that's the range of what council is approving for the
Sure.
incentive.
And we're hopeful that they select the city of Medina, and hopefully this passage of this ordinance will give them comfort to know that we would like to have them come here and receive the award of the grant. So, okay. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on adoption of the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 523 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 623, an ordinance accepting the dedication plat for a public alley.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion, Mr. Patton?
Thank you, Mr. President. The city owns a parcel of land that's about 35 foot wide. It runs north from West Liberty Street on the west side, along the west side of Sully's. Provides access to the city parking deck, City Hall parking deck, as well as to a number of adjacent public parking lots. By dedicating this, it will become a public alley similar to several other public alleys in the downtown area. We will be able to use 108 funds to construct and maintain that alleyway when it is ready. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 623 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 723, an ordinance amending section 94302 of the codified ordinances of the city of Medina, Ohio, relative to the general regulations of the Spring Grove Cemetery.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion, Mr. Worley?
Thank you, Mr. President. In order to reduce our liability at Spring Grove, we're requesting to add a rule to our general regulations prohibiting swimming, ice skating, and fishing in ponds or pools or water at the cemetery. We did review this with the Cemetery Commission, and they were in favor of this rule change as well.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 723 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 823, an ordinance amending sections 5, 6, and 7 of the Civil Service Rules and Regulations of the city of Medina relative to lateral entry of patrol officers.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion,
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause in the ordinance. Chief Kinney.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an ordinance that would amend Section 5, 6, and 7 of the Civil Service Rules and Regulations pursuant to a lateral entry program. A lateral entry program for the police department permits us to bring in officers from other departments who have at least 1 year of full-time experience and expedite that hiring process. It also allows us to pay those officers based on their full-time experience according to our pay code. These changes were approved by the Civil Service Commission in December, as well as the law director has approved it. The emergency clause is requested because we have 3 openings that we need to fill as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and or the ordinance?
Mr. Coyne, just
Mayor?
Chief, the only thing that changes is the starting rate of pay, not seniority or benefits or anything else, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay, just for the benefit of council, we've been through this with the civil service ad nauseum, but nonetheless, this will give us a good opportunity to bring in some folks that are not required to be sent down for an extended period of time for training and have some experience that the city could benefit from. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 823 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 923, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with EnviroScience, Inc. for site investigation, design, permitting, and construction oversight services as part of the Rocky River Stabilization Project at Huffman Cunningham Park.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Worley?
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is to enter into contract with a design consultant to address approximately 315 linear feet of riverbank erosion at Huffman Cunningham Park. The project budget is approximately $200,000 excluding the design costs. We're requesting to use American Rescue Plan Act funds for this project so we can get it designed and then come back to you for bidding.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Ordinance 923 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 1023, an ordinance amending sections 3105 and 3107 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the reorganization of the Parks and Recreation Department and the Recreation Center, and accepting various new and revised job descriptions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Worley?
Thank you, Mr. President. With combining the Parks and Recreation and the Rec Center Department, we need to accept new job description for the Director of Parks, Recreation, Cemetery, and Forestry, as well as a revised job description for the Recreation Center Superintendent, accept the revised job description for the Office Administrator, and accept a new job description for a part-time Office Assistant. So basically, we're modifying sections 3105 and 3107 related to those positions, as well as changing the direct reports for all of the individuals that report to the people that are in those positions. The Rec Center has been essentially operating like this for the last 2 years. It's worked out well, and we're making these changes so we can continue moving forward.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 1023 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 1123, an ordinance authorizing expenditure not to exceed $45,000 to Baker, Dubacar, Wiley, and Matthews for legal services for the Law Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Huber.
The Baker Dublicar Law Firm represents the city of Medina in a number of pieces of litigation that are pending, one in the federal Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, one case in the Common Pleas Court, another in the Ohio Supreme Court. This is a purchase order that enables us to pay their legal fees.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
The emergency clause? Or we're not doing the emergency clause?
I don't have.
No,
one on
there's no
mine.
emergency clause on that one. Is there?
No.
No, I don't
No.
have one on mine.
Oh, okay. Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 1123 passes 7-0.
I think she forgot me.
I did?
Yeah.
Coin.
Yes. Ordinance 1223, an ordinance amending ordinance number 16822 passed September 12, 2022, relative to the expenditure to C&J Noble Construction for rehabilitation work at 172 Normandy Drive, Brunswick.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Dutton?
Thank you. This is related to a CHIP home rehabilitation project at Normandy Drive in Brunswick, who is our partner in our CHIP program. The original amount was for $72,000. This increases it by $4,000 to $76,000. Has to do with some work that needs to be done to a concrete slab in front step of the house. The emergency clause is being requested as the work is completed. We had a little bit of delay in the holiday season, and we'd like to get the contractor paid. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment on the ordinance and emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazelton.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 1223 passes 7-0.
And finally, for this evening, ordinance 1323, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2122, passed December 12th, 2022, amendments to the 23 budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the IT fund budget, and then there's a couple pass-throughs.
Any further discussion? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption of the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 1323 passes 7-0.
All right, council comments. Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple things. First of all, I want to make everybody aware of the Police Awareness Month again, and expand on what Mayor Hanwell talked about with the Guatemalan gentlemen that were stopped by the police. I had a nice conversation with Miles Reed, and he did share this with the mayor also, that the three gentlemen that were stopped by the police, obviously with the language barrier, were very fearful. And Miles shared with me and the mayor and Chief Kinney that they were so impressed, and the police officers on the scene made them feel so comfortable that their fear went away right away. And we have to remember there's a lot of people living in our community that do speak other languages besides English, and may not initially be able to speak English at all, which was the case of these gentlemen that were stopped. And I just want to, and I know I always sound like a cheerleader, but all of our department heads, all the employees that work for the city, I do believe in my heart of hearts that they all go out of their way to respect each individual, no matter what their circumstances may be. And sometimes with the police department, it's not always the best circumstances, but the police officers always show, a courtesy and treat them with dignity. So during this month, we should not only appreciate the jobs that they're doing and putting their life on the line every day, but to make our community feel, leaving those interactions with the police department, feel more positive. And I think that happens more than not. And the same thing with all our department heads and all our employees of the city. And that's why I always preach. It's so easy to be kind. Just try to do that in every interaction you have with people, not only in your family, people you meet on the streets. Just be kind to them. Makes a difference. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Ms. Hazeltine?
Just real quickly, I want to welcome everyone back. It's nice to see all your smiling faces. Happy New Year, all that jazz. But I wanted to give you a little food for thought with the passing of Barbara Walters at, I think it was the 2nd day of January, and Martin Luther King Jr. Day coming up. It's just something to think about. Anne Frank, Barbara Walters, and Martin Luther King Jr. were all born the same year. So it just kind of helps put things in perspective. So keep that in mind on Monday. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other council comments?
Mr. President?
Mr. Rose?
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to catch up on something that I promised I would do back in November. There was a neighbor had some housing construction going on that required them to clear out all of their brush around the house. It just so happened that was brush pickup day, and all the construction vehicles were parked along the street there, and I watched Nino's crew gently pick up every piece of brush and didn't touch a single vehicle. So thank you. Hats off to them. Good job. I meant to do that, but I told you I was, and it just slipped my mind, so sorry. Catching up on that. And then I would like to say thank you to all of the residents who, in some way, shape, or form, reached out to me over the holidays and given this council and me personally some thanks for the things that we've done over the years to keep this city going. And I just want to acknowledge that their thank yous and comments were well received. And then Happy New Year to all. May 23 be our best year ever.
Thank you. Any additional council comments? Mr. Lamb?
Have a faulty microphone. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Denny, thank you for your comments, as always. It's a great way to start the new year. You are like an anchor, I guess, with your, you feel like an anchor, maybe like a moral anchor sometimes to this group,
Thank you.
Appreciate hearing you every time we come. I also want to thank the mayor and the administration. The issues that I raised at the organizational meeting, both with regard to the 3 readings and the emergency clause, I appreciate the information that was provided tonight. For us on council, for me personally, I guess, I think it's important that we always remember that there are a lot of people in the community that don't understand probably what it is we might be passing, and not because they can't understand it, but because they simply aren't that familiar with it. And we may well understand why the emergency clause is necessary. And on the other hand, sometimes I might not understand why the emergency clause is necessary. But I think it's important that we remind ourselves of those things with regard to the community as we go forward, that there is a larger audience that we serve. And while the administration has demonstrated over and over again how to operate a political body as a business, it is important that we remember that we are doing the people's business, and that we allow opportunity when we can for people, as much as we can rather, to participate, to listen, to voice concerns and ask questions with regard to what we do, because much of what we do has money attached to it, or has a program attached to it, or may will directly affect people in the community. So I think it's an important issue for us to keep in mind, and I appreciate the cooperation from everybody in the administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional council comments? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.